Let's do some practice. So things like how many millimeters, are in 1 meter. So we're going to pull from memory the fact that 1 millimeter is really small. So 1 millimeter is going to be equal to, or for every 1 millimeter, you only have 1 times 10 to the negative 3 meters. So this milli is that 1/1000th. So you can think of it as being that small unit. So we want to know how many millimeters are in 1 meter. Well, if this is the unit I have, really all I want is I want the reverse. So I know that it's 1 millimeter in 1 times to the negative 3 meters. And I'm being told that I have a whole meter. So I can take my given, my 1 meter, and then I'm going to use my ratio. So I want my meters to cancel because I only want to be left with millimeters. So I'm taking my 1 times 10 to the negative 3 meters in 1 millimeter. And what I'm going to get from that is 1 times 10 to the third, or 1,000 millimeters. Next on my list, how many gigabytes are in 1.2 times 10 to the 10th bytes? So we're going to start with our given. So whatever number we have here is our given. And what I really want is I want a ratio between my bytes and my gigabytes. So in the end, I'd really like to be in gigabytes by the time I'm finished. So that's my overall goal, is to be in gigabytes. And I need to get rid of these bytes in the meantime. So the question is, do I have one simple ratio that can go from a base unit just to gigabytes? And in this case, I do. So in order to get 1 gigabyte, that's going to be 1 times 10 to the 9th bytes, or whatever my base unit is. So then I'm going to go ahead and do my math. So I'm going to go ahead and divide my 1.2 times 10 to the 10th divided by e to the 9th, which will just give me 12. So that'll get me my final number. So again, I took my given, put it here. I want my bytes to cancel. So bytes are going to go on the bottom here. And so this is going to let those units cancel out, and I'll be left with gigabytes in the end. How many micrometers are in 2.5 kilometers? So I've got 2 units. This is the one that I want in the end. So this is what I'm going towards. This number is what I'm given. So again, I want to plot a trek from what I'm given, my 2.5 kilometers, and when I'm done, I want micrometers. So this is the goal. The hard thing though is I don't have a ratio that goes from kilometers to micrometers. So I do know I'm going to get rid of my kilometers because they're not really going to do me any good. And in the end, I want my micrometers. So I need some unit to connect these two together. My connecting unit is going to be the meter, that base unit of 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I know that there's 1 times 10 to the positive 3 meters in 1 kilometer. And I also know that to get 1 micrometer, I need 1 times 10 to the negative 6th meters. So again, I'm pulling these ratios from my memory because they won't be on the exam. And watch, we're going to have our given unit here is going to cancel. So those two will cancel out. And again, whatever unit is here on the top, I don't actually want it. Micrometers is the goal. So my meters here will also cancel. So then after that, it's just all about crunching the numbers. Anything on the bottom is divided, anything on the top is multiplied. The nice thing is that you can do this math in any order. It's all multiplication and division, so it doesn't actually matter which way you do it in. Notice I am using that EE button on my calculator. So you'll notice I'm not having to deal with parentheses, I'm not having to deal with really long functions. That EE button will give you that times 10 to the. So there's a lot of nice little tricks on your calculator to make your life easier. Oh, that's a big number. So I don't want to have to do all the little counting over because I'm really likely to mess up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit second and that degree symbol. So I'm currently in flow. What I want is scientific. I want scientific notation. So then that will automatically give me scientific notation to tell me that I have 2.9 times 10 to the positive ninth micrometers. One word to the warning: if you have your calculator left in scientific notation, it'll always give you scientific notation. So what I mean by that is I do something like 112 divided by 10. This will still give me this number in scientific notation. So it'll tell me it's 1.12 times 10 to the first power, when in reality this makes a lot more sense to us to say that it's 11.2. So just keep in mind that if you're going to switch into scientific notation, you usually want to be able to switch back out again. If you have the other calculator, this option is still available to you, but those buttons are down here. So you can still find them. The other version of your calculator does do this trick as well. How many liters, so this is what I want, are in 5.7 meters cubed of water? This is my given. So at first it seems like there is no common unit. So this is where you might have been given this, but 1 cubic centimeter is actually equal to 1 milliliter. If you didn't know that before, now you do. So whenever you see someone talk about cc's in the medical field, a cc is a cubic centimeter. That's what that is. We're still going to start with our given. Now here's a problem. I want cubic centimeters, but I have cubic meters. We don't have a little conversion in our table for cubic, but I do have one just for meters. So we know that there's 1 times 10 to the negative 2 meters in 1 centimeter. In order to make this cubic, what I'm going to do is cube this entire unit. So that means when we're talking about this, that I am going to cube, since I'm cubing everything. Sorry, everything's cubed. So I have to apply this cube to the 1, and I have to apply this cube to this number as well. So 1 cube's not so bad. That's just 1. So I have 1 cubic centimeter. That worked out just like I wanted. But then I also have to cube my 1 times 10 to the negative 2. This also needs to be cubed. So when I cube that, I don't just get the same number back, I get something much smaller. So this is actually the ratio, cubic meters. So this is actually the ratio that's really going in here. So if you want to, you can rewrite this if you want. Otherwise, you can put the cube however it's going to be that you remember it. But just realize we are using the regular conversion unit of length, but we're just cubing everything in there. Since we are going to have those beautiful cubic centimeters, I have over here that 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. And then in 1 milliliter, I will have 1 times 10 to the negative 3 liters. So now I'm just going to divide by everything on the bottom, multiply by everything on the top. So that's going to be 5.7 meters cubed divided by 1 EE negative 6 times 1 E negative 3. And that's going to give me in the end 5.7 times 10 to the positive 3 liters. Now, the question always is, well, what if I hadn't done this out to the side? What would that look like? I can just add some parentheses and make that work as well. So I can take 5.7 divided by parenthesis 1 EE negative 2 raised to the 3rd power, and then still multiplied by 1 EE negative 3. That should get me the same number. This is a good time to test your use of parentheses on your calculator. It's actually pretty easy to get things a little bit mixed up. So do practice this with your calculator to make sure that you can do these conversions.